Nasir, where are you from?
I'm from China.
My son actually has no idea that he is quote unquote American because the majority of his upbringing was in China. America has been the worst place for me to be as a Black American.
Police brutality and becoming that next hashtag is a real fear. From a scale of 1 to 10, I feel as a 6 or 7 is very real for me. So I'm very determined to leave. Scale 1 to 10 out of 9.
The deaths of Black people at the hands of police are a persistent American story, and some Black Americans would rather leave the country than continue living with fear. Roger Pearson moved to Taiwan in 2019 after falling in love with the island on a trip to Asia. He returned to the US in February 2020 to escape COVID-19. Though the virus eventually spread to the US, he says it is the fear of police brutality that keeps him up at night.
Taiwan, people were very friendly, very kind. Also, they had a great transit system, great weather, universal health care. A lot of things that I would like in the U.S., I had there. Coming back home in America, it's been very, I would say, shocking the way that they were handling the pandemic. Very chaotic here. When I was in Taiwan, I wasn't afraid of the police, but now I am. If I see a police car, you feel your heart race, So there's anxiety. It's hard to sleep sometimes because we live in a society now. As a Black person, I could be next.
I felt boxed in. I felt like, I had to find an escape. Racism and white supremacy exists all over the world. It was just for me, I just needed to find an out, some kind of escape for myself.
Following the death of Sandra Bland in police custody in 2015, Imani Bashir bought a one-way ticket out. Since then, she has lived in Egypt, Poland, and China. She's written about her expat experience in the New York Times. Now, she's living in Mexico with her young son and husband, feeling a sense of calm and peace that she didn't have back home.
Being here, it's sunshine. I can walk to the store and just feel comfortable. I see police, and they go up and down the street, but you're not hearing sirens all the time. Seeing police, you get an anxiety in the United States. You get, you see those flashing lights. You see a police officer. You look and see if they're reaching for their gun. For whatever reason, it's just an anxiety that I just don't have living outside of the United States.
The term Blaxit is used to describe the migration of Black Americans to other countries to escape racism in the U.S. Even though racism exists in other countries, both Roger and Imani say it's not the same.
My life is different being abroad versus being in the U.S., mainly because of the privilege of being American.
There is a racial hierarchy there. However, it's largely based on nationality. It's unfortunate for those that might be from Southeast Asia or Africa. They're treated a lot differently. But if you're from a Western country, a lot of times they would rather have you there. When I was over there, I felt as though I was an American. There's no negative perceptions of you. They don't live in that constant fear of that I'm a criminal or I'm going to do something to them. That was a really freeing experience. Coming back, I'm now an African American, which has its own, connotation, its own stigma to it.
Whenever I've met white Americans abroad, there's a different air. I can encounter white people who are nice and kind and who actually are just living their lives like us, and you make this connection with people who you never thought that you would have. When we're in the States, it's like on a list of how many white American friends I have, I would probably say not 0. You know what I'm saying?
If you think about racism as a source of stress, anytime people are chronically stressed, their health, physical and mental, will be impacted.
Beverly Daniel Tatum is a psychologist who studies how racism impacts mental health.
All the things you need to do to make your life possible during the course of a day can be impacted negatively if you are part of a stigmatized group, and that does take a toll. That stress can impact your physical being. Black people in particular, in a society that is focused on anti-Black racism, you will find higher rates of heart disease, higher rates of blood pressure, higher rates of cancers of various forms.
Especially in Asia, a lot of countries are safer. It was very stress-free, I would say. When you're here, you feel the stress, especially more now being back. I would say it's way more appealing being there because it's just an easier way of life.
For Roger, the future is uncertain. For the moment, the pandemic has grounded him in the country.
I'm very eager. It's not looking so great. I feel that, it's like a big unknown right now. Could be 2 years from now, but I would like to go back to Asia or some maybe to Africa or even South America. America, I don't feel is the greatest country in the world, for me at least, but it may be for someone else.
What do we have here? What are we eating?
We're eating some donuts.
Tasty donuts.
Imani has no intention of ever settling again in the U.S. She says she doesn't want her son to become the next hashtag.
Being a mother of a young Black child certainly is one of the main factors of continuing to live a life abroad. My son has never lived in the United States. When I look at my son, I think of Tamir Rice. I don't want him to be Trayvon Martin. I don't want him to be Tamir Rice. I don't want my son to constantly feel like there is a target on his back.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.